of Massachusetts comes a six-string slinger with fire in his fingertips and thunder in his tone. With 5 original albums under his belt, this dude isn't just playing guitar, he's channeling the spirit of the greats. A killer writer, a next-level shredder, and a performer who plays like every solo might be his last, because he knows someone in that crowd came to have their face melted. They're calling him the next Eddie Van Halen, and not just because of the speed or the flash. It's the soul, it's the feel. It's the raw, unfiltered passion that reminds us that rock and roll ain't dead. It just moved into a new pair of boots. And tonight, it's stomping across our stage. Goldy's Closet. Ladies and gentlemen, strap in and plug up, because you're about to meet the man keeping the flame alive. The one, the only, Ben Cote. Welcome to Goldy's Closet.
All right, sounds good.
Ben, tell me, what part of the world do you hail? And you don't have to get specific, but where are you performing? Where do you live? What's your vibe there? I mean, again, you don't need to get specific. Just where's home?
Yeah, Boston, Massachusetts.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I see all of these shows that you have online all the time. How often are you? I hate that word gigging, but it is a word. But how often are you playing?
Well, we're probably 3 or 4 times a month, I think, at this point. And we play all over the Northeast and East Coast region. My goal for 2025 is to try to get us more nationally playing shows. But
which, I mean, you're doing it. You're doing everything that you're supposed to do. Your shows are 100% original. Do you guys ever do any covers at all? What's your mix? How does that work?
Oh yeah, we do a lot of covers, as well as we have 5 original albums out right now, so we have plenty of original material. But it's I try to put on the type of show that I would enjoy as someone in the audience. So we try to really, I guess the whole point of my band and everything that we're doing was just trying to kind of keep the flame of rock and roll alive. So even at our live shows, we try to play some of our favorite covers as well as our original music.
I love that. And we just did a show with an opening spot, and I remember one of the podcasts that I did before, they were saying, is it going to be all originals? I mean, it's I remember getting out there and it was so rock, and got a car going by, I'll give it a beat.
Sorry, yeah, that's it.
Be sorry. It'll happen to me too. It was so rock, and I was just you know what? I just was looking out at the crowd, and these people don't really know us. We're in a new market. And so I was let's do it. Let's do a mix, because you made a really great point, and I'm going to steal that. You said you would like to put on the type of show that if you were in the crowd, that people would enjoy. That says a lot about you, though. It's not all oh, you know what I mean? If people want to hear stuff once in a while that's reminiscent or nostalgic, and then you got them by the balls, and then you could be hey, if you like this, we've got this, and then you can play your stuff too. So where did you have a full band?
Yep.
Yeah. Where did you find these girls? I don't know who's in your band. Tell me a little bit about your band. I can't wait to find out more about you.
Okay. So I went to Berklee College of Music, here in Boston.
I saw that.
Yeah, actually, I work for Berklee now. It's my day job.
Doing what?
I am the senior coordinator for the guitar department there.
Dude, how much of a dream gig is that you get to still be around music for we call it in wrestling, we call it our shoot job. And then you get to just go be Batman at night or after work. That's the perfect, wow, that's a blessing. That says, again, a lot about you. So,
I got the best day job in the world for what I'm doing.
So what is your day job? What do you do during your day job?
So essentially, I guess my main role is I'm the academic advisor to the chair of the guitar department there. So it's kind of a lot of the more of the behind the scenes stuff, I think, academically for all the students. But yeah, but I mean, being an alum from Berklee too, and it's they're very accommodating and very understanding. When I have a gig or I have to go, do something for my band, it's really
I love
blessed. Yeah.
That's a tough school to get into. That's just now Berklee's different. There's 2 different Berklees. There's the California Berklee and then yours, right?
Yes. They're totally separate. Yes. So
are they separate?
Yeah. The Berklee in California is spelled with a Y.
My bad.
Yeah. There's no. A lot of people, think that there's a connection, but they're totally separate schools. The Berklee College of Music is its own separate, just a music music college.
Well, your vibe is different. And then what's the one in Nashville? Belmont.
Oh, that's right. There's Belmont. Well, then there's Juilliard. I think
Mm-hmm.
Berklee and Juilliard are probably arguably
Yeah.
the two. And then Musicians Institute in LA, which I went to Musicians Institute for a little while before I went to Berklee. In
And how was
Hollywood.
that?
There was a lot of great teachers there,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the right fit for what I was trying to accomplish, with my career. So
Interesting.
Berklee was a lot more for
How
me.
how many years did you spend at Berklee?
4 years.
Okay.
4 years, yeah.
And then
4 years as a student, and I've been there ever since.
I was like, did they approach you, or was there an opening and that you saw it, or did it just organically happen, or what?
So right when I graduated in 2018 from Berklee, and then right after I graduated, they asked me to come back and teach for the summer programs part-time. So I did that for 2 years, and then the position opened up, which was a full-time position as part of the administration staff. So I was able to transition into that, and I got that job because as much as I love teaching, it's like, well, this is health insurance, and
No,
so.
and that's smart. And like, there are so many people out there listening that have something that they want to do, Ben. And I don't know, I guess you have such a great vibe. Like, that's why I asked you on the show. Like, you just seem like a happy person, and you're just kind. And I really think that the universe or God or whoever you believe in rewards you with that, with great opportunities. And there's so many people that want to do something, but they're like stuck in something that isn't understanding about what else they want to do. Or I don't know, sometimes I think they're almost like self-sabotaging. Like, I would say, if this is what you want to do and this is what you love, then really start exploring opportunities that surround that. I mean, I love to do what you do, and I shoot photography and do graphic design, and other crazy jobs are us that allow me to be able to go rock and do what I need to do. And then some of that's a sacrifice too, like sometimes everything can't just be like, I'm glad that you get health insurance and benefits. Like, that's killer. Like, that's not the case with everybody. So that's
Right.
you really have a good thing, and it's fueling you to go out and kick some ass. So let's talk about, you already have 5 albums that are out.
Yes, yeah. So
Name them.
so the first one was called Tight Jeans and Sunglasses. That was in 2016. 2018 was our album Get Your Licks In. 2020 we recorded during the pandemic and released it, and it's titled What the Doctor Ordered. Then last year, 2023, we had the album come out called Use It or Lose It, and then this past summer we just released our latest album, Celluloid Babylon.
Are the same guys? How long the guys? Are they all men?
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
So the dudes that you have now, how long have you been with them?
This lineup probably about a year.
You call it a lineup. I call it a cast. I like
Okay. That's
I like it. Okay,
Yeah.
so the lineup before that, did they do 1 or 2 albums? Like, how long do your lineups usually last for your group, your original act?
Let's see. So we've had pretty much, for the most part, almost a different cast, for almost every album cycle. But a lot of it was, just because, well, when I formed this band, which is, it's called the Ben Cote Band, which
Yep.
the reason being was actually my drummer at the time when we formed this band, which, I'm sure you and any musician, listening to this can attest to. It's very difficult to keep a band together, for various reasons. So whenever you have some sort of lineup change, and a lot of times, then there's issues with what's the band name, what's the identity. So my drummer at the time, this was, probably almost 10 years ago now. So why don't we just call it the Ben Cote Band? He's like, you're fronting it that way. There's a consistent image, and then, if there's a revolving door of musicians, then we can still keep one identity. So that's kind of how the band came to fruition that way. But I've had this band right through my time as a student at Berklee. So it was a lot of times where, we'd have band members that, might have been older than me, and then they would graduate and, go move off to different parts of the country, or sometimes, they would move home, which sometimes was international as well.
Mhm.
And then, some got fired, some,
People don't understand that. That's a good point. And that this is a topic that you don't really hear a lot spoken about, just because it's kind of taboo, or which, I've got such thick skin that, I read all these things that people write about me, like just because I'm this raging bitch and everybody quit and it's just like whatever. Like they don't realize, like you just made some really great points. Like people move on, like they meet somebody and they want to get married, they move out of the country, they they need health insurance and take a job that doesn't allow them to do anything but work way more than a 40-hour a week. Like it is such a it's a testament again to you. Like I think about that sometimes because, well, if you looked at my ceiling, when my ceiling is like, I don't know, I'm going to show everybody my ceiling just because it's a good point. So my ceiling is like a graveyard. It's literally the graveyard of everybody that, once they're not in the band anymore, I just put them up on the ceiling. And I keep it, Ben, because there's always one person that's consistent in all the photos, me.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you
I
just
understand that.
gotta keep. And our drummer has been with me for 15 years. Like, and she's just my greatest everything. It's very, very hard to keep anything going. Yeah, all these people start up a podcast and then they realize like, oh, it's work. Like I've been doing a podcast for 9 years every single week. Like that's a lot. I've been in a band since I was 14, 15 years old, and I'm not 14 or 15 years old anymore. And I keep showing up. Like that is one of the things about making it in any business, not entertainment, not plumbing, not medical. It's showing up. And there's some quote that's out there. Somebody said that 99% of success or whatever percentage is showing up. So that's a great point that you make. Like, and that drummer 10 years ago was very sweet and very wise and obviously not a narcissist in any way. And I hope you still talk to that guy. Just curious.
Yeah, occasionally.
So you're not like, you don't have heat with him. You're not like enemies. Right?
No, not like that. I think just, life just kind of took us different directions,
Yeah.
So,
But he was a wise guy. Like that's smart. Like you just keep it going and you just keep going.
Yeah. And it's really, being in a band, it's a lot of hard work and not a lot of payoff, for a while anyway, and
Why is it a lot of hard work? Tell me about it. I want to hear you say it.
So especially nowadays, it's more than just playing music, it's you have to do everything. So
who does all your graphics, all your stuff? Who does
I do. Yeah, it's you gotta be a graphic designer, you gotta be, a manager, you gotta be a booking agent, you gotta be a producer, an engineer, a marketer. You gotta do everything. And it's like I'm at the point now with my band that which I guess I never really answered the question about the current lineup, which I can get to in a minute. But my rhythm guitar player, plays in a lot of other local bands as well. And he was just telling me, he's like all these other bands that he's in, he's like this one, he's like the Ben Cote band. He's like it's just so organized. I mean, we have Google Sheets, we have Google Docs, we have a band Google Calendar. It's like I put everything down in there. We have, it's kind of nerdy almost, because I approach it like an office job. At least part of it as an office job, just being as organized as you can, because it's just, the more that you have going on, the busier it is, the harder it is. So it's just a matter of just trying to stay on top of everything and treat it, treat the band and treat the job, with the respect that you would any other job, and that's, I think, easier said than done, because I think just, especially with rock and roll, there's I think it's just the vibe or the aesthetic that it's just,
chaos,
rock and roll all night, party every day. And it's, you see something on stage, you see the glitz and glamour of a band on stage, but you don't see the tens of thousands of hours behind the scenes that, make that happen.
I want to talk about that more, but I want to insert something that is just relevant to what you're saying, then go back to your cast. Keep that question. I tend to jump chess game. You said people think it's rock and roll party every day, quoting, one of the greatest rock bands of all time. And then you go and you look at that mother trucker who was the most business oriented dude ever, even down to the songs that Kiss wrote. Gene would not allow any song. And I think about this, I think subconsciously, and consciously, in a little bit of a different way. But for people listening, Gene Simmons would never allow a song that put their band in a place that wasn't of power. It couldn't be this sad boo-hoo, like it could be about a girl, but it still had to put them over. They had to be in control, in power. They had to be, their stuff was very positive. It was just party. But anything that made them look weak or just undesirable, he wouldn't pass it. Gene was horrible with just, he was going to put everything in his name. Everything was going to be like, he talked about a businessman, like everything down to merch and rights and royalties. Like that guy just, the other guys were just partying up. And I don't think he even drinks. I don't think Gene even drinks alcohol.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
yeah, see, and that's what it takes, is having that self-discipline in multiple aspects of your life, not
because he was just making sure that he was gonna, get it all. Like some bands are like that. I try to share equally and do a lot, make sure my guys are covered, but it should be. And that's what's missing when people say, I can't get ahead. I'm not successful. This business sucks, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, but then what are you doing? Well, we didn't have anybody show up at our show. Did you promote it? Well, that's the club's job. Not really anymore. Maybe back in the days that was the club's job, but I wouldn't count on the club doing jack shit. We buy ads, we do the graphics, we make sure we invite people. We've got email lists. It's like a job. And I guess like if there was more on the line for people, but they're just kind of treating it as, yeah, we'll go play. Like I don't take a show, Ben, unless every show, like I look at every opportunity that I can suck out of it, whether it be another booking or a private party because we were exceptional that night or XYZ, so I love that you treat it like a business, and you can tell. And now I'm going to check your graphics out even more because I was already looking at them because they were great. So that's
thank you. Yeah, it's just, you just got to put as much production value into it as you can. And a lot of times that means just, doing everything other than the music as well as the music,
What's your show like?
So usually, well, I guess it depends on the type of show that we're playing. I mean, sometimes we'll book a gig that we're the only band on for the night. So we have, 3 or 4 sets. And then that's definitely, a pretty 50-50 even mix of, covers and originals. Then we have a couple shows coming up in a few weeks, we're the headlining act, and it'll be pretty more original heavy, and then we have a couple opening acts, and it's more of like a concert,
Yeah.
But, I try to, really put on the best, and again, kind of go back to my comment, I try to put on the type of show that I'd want to see in the audience. So, I mean, we bring our own lights, we bring fog machines, we try to make, a little club, in, rural Massachusetts, wherever we're playing, New Hampshire, Connecticut, we try to make that look like, the Whiskey A Go-Go, or,
you have those geysers,
House of Blues or something like that,
Did you get any of those geysers yet? Like the fake pyro ones?
No, I haven't yet, but I have seen those. They look really cool.
Really cool. What do you guys wear?
So usually, kind of something like I'm wearing right now. I mean, yeah. I don't go too crazy, as far as stage clothes, but it's, for me, it's just kind of, like I said, trying to pass carry the torch of just kind of that great golden age of arena rock, and I'm a guitar player first before I'm a singer, so it's, definitely very guitar heavy.
You're amazing guitar player, amazing.
Oh, thank you. But and I ended up, I'm also the lead singer, just because, sometimes you just have to do it yourself. But yeah.
What were we going to bookmark? There was one other thing that I wanted to address before we move down to the next part of the pod. You said I didn't answer that question yet.
Oh, the lineup.
Yeah.
Yes. So this lineup we have, we're a 4. We used to always be a 3-piece. Then we were a 4-piece for a little while, with a lead singer, probably 6 or 7 years ago. And then we went back to a 3-piece, and I kind of took over lead vocals. Now we're a 4-piece again. So it's myself on guitar and vocals. Then we have Adam Corlito, who's a Berklee drummer. Actually just graduated this past spring. Who's probably the best drummer I've ever worked with, to be honest.
Oh, I love it.
And then we have Rob Moore on rhythm guitar, who's also another Berklee alum who also works for Berklee as well. So
cool.
In the same boat. He's works for a different department. And then my bass player, who actually does do a lot of the lead vocals as well with me. He's been one of my best friends since high school. So it's a good balance of.
Has he been in the band for a while then, the bass player?
So we were in a bunch of bands together in high school, and then he actually works for a John Deere
Nice.
client, and but so he kind of went that route with life. So he would always just kind of be like, because I treat my band kind of like a sports team almost. Like you have the starters, then you have the second string. So if there's ever a gig that comes up and someone can't do it, it's like, all right, we have someone on the bench that. So he would always just kind of be like, yeah, just keep me as a backup. If you ever need a bass player for something that, and then it got to the point that now where he's at in his career, he's at a point where he's able to take any time off for gigs, and that's when he's kind of like, I'm available to be kind of the starter, so to speak. He's just not only is a phenomenal vocalist and musician and songwriter. It's just when you play with, which I'm sure you probably know, when you play with someone for such a long time, it's like you can just read each other on stage, in a way that you can't with other people. So having him in the lineup has really helped a lot.
That is such a gift, and it's cool to talk to you just because like this is something, and maybe some people listening would resonate with this or be able to identify, but I don't know how to explain it. Like, so everybody kind of knows, like, I'm not a big drinker. I don't really do any drugs or just never really been into all that because, and it's the same kind of dudes. It's like, there's just such a thing, like what you were just describing and it could be very similar to like a person with a police partner or just somebody that you have such a connection with. And I guess when I say police partner, because it's a little bit different than just somebody that goes to a 9 to 5 with somebody and then they go home. Like you're breathing these people's air for like days on end sometimes when we're touring, and
oh yeah,
you got to get along. I think everybody in life should be in a band. I think everybody should have a very large vehicle that they have to drive, like C-class, so that they know what the fuck's going on out in the road when they're mad and they're in people's blind spaces and they're like, move. And it's like, this is a big rig. We all have licenses to drive our touring vehicles. They should be in a band just because like there's so many times when I'm just so sick of the very voice of the people that I'm with, and I just want to break, but like there's nowhere to go because they're sitting next to me, and I'm sure they just are ready to like knock me out at any given second because they're just, you're just on each other's nerves and you're annoyed, but you have to just like have peace and find grace and put up with everybody and just keep on going and decide that the next place people want to stop for lunch or whatever is going to be their call. Or it's such a beautiful, interesting, I don't know what, just scenario being in a band and like having that connection with people. It's very different than other people's gig.
Oh yeah. And it's definitely a big part of, I think, picking a band, and especially too with the way that this band's set up. It's like, I always say, like, it's not, at the end of the day, it's not really a democracy. It's my name's on it, so I need to kind of sign off on the decisions. But at the same time, it's like, I still want it to be a gang. I want it to be a collaborative effort. And
I get that. That's a really great way of putting it.
Everyone, in this lineup are mature enough and professional enough to understand that dynamic and to understand, their role. And also, I mean, the most important part too is just our personalities mesh, I think, in a really good way, because that's something that I think that gets overlooked. It's like, I'd rather take someone that, maybe isn't necessarily the best musician, best player, but I get along with them on a deeper level, because you're going to get a lot more out of that musically than someone who can just, shred but really hard to get along with. But luckily I lucked out and I have players that are phenomenal players and great people too. So
no, I'm so happy for you. Talk about what's going on like in the next year now. Let's just promo the heck out of everything going on and where we can find you and how we can support you.
Sure. Yeah. So, my main, I guess, area of kind of reaching me, and I think the thing that's been really feeding the success of my band is my Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram and TikTok. Because actually during the pandemic, when the world shut down, I was furloughed, like most of Berklee. I was furloughed from Berklee for a year. Obviously I couldn't gig because everything was shut down, so that's when I started kind of paying more attention to social media and live streaming and things like that, because up until that point I never really had too much interest. I was always kind of old school of, I want to play live, but that kind of forced me to kind of get with the times, and so I started really kind of focusing on building up my social media. And unfortunately, what kind of helped kind of snowball me into the following I have now on Instagram, unfortunately, was when my hero Eddie Van Halen passed away in October of 2020. Because then all of a sudden, everything I'd been doing since I was like 14 years old became really mainstream. Like whenever a big artist dies, and that's when everyone starts, people that weren't even a huge fan, that's when they kind of come out of the woodwork. So that kind of made everything that I was doing really relevant for a few months, and then that was kind of started this wave. Now, so I never had any interest in kind of being a social media or Instagram guitarist, but I have a very very dedicated following on Instagram, and which is interesting too. And I was having this conversation the other day with someone that even like 10 years ago there was like physical scenes, physical music scenes, like, oh, this is the Boston scene, this is the Nashville scene, and now it's not quite like that. There's like a niche, like everything that I do is very kind of 80s hair metal kind of revival, and there's a big scene for that, but it's all online now. So it's like, it's not one physical area. So I have fans in England, I have fans in Scotland, fans in LA. So it does make it more difficult to physically tour, because it's like, well, it's like 100,000 people, 100,000 followers might look like kind of a lot, but then once you realize it's spread across the globe, it's really you can't really go to one area and expect
But
you can turnout.
You can get your music going like you're doing, and just fuel that as much as possible, and use that gas to figure out pockets of places that you can go play and team up with other people. And I love the kind of music that and I get, people will say, oh, rock is dead. I'm like, it's not dead at all. Like, there's like people riding around on fake horses, and that's like a thing. There's like all this freaky shit that's out there. Like, nothing is dead. Maybe you only pay attention to one niche, and that's what comes across your algorithm and your feed is, your pop or your R&B or whatever, your Diddy freak offs, whatever you're click. That's all I get now, because I'm just so fascinated on what's going on with him, that everything on my feed is just, because I lived in, and you did too. If you went to, like, where did you live in Hollywood? Where about?
I lived right on Orchid Ave, so right behind Grauman's Theater. So right north.
Yeah, so you've seen some shit. Like, some other thing, I was trying to get some work done yesterday, but it popped up about some influencer, and he had like a bunch of his segments all stitched into one, so it was like an hour long, and I was like trying to not listen to it, but I had to, just because he was talking about like this party that he got invited to in like Laurel Canyon, or and then just like shit hit the fan, and it got really weird, and it was like culty, and they were doing initiation things, and I'm just so fascinated by that, because I was in the midst of all of it, and I ditched all of it, because it's just like, I mean, I'm just somebody that's like, if I don't want to do something, there's no like persuading me, like, it ain't happening. Like I said, I don't even drink or like do anything, and people are still like trying to get me, and I'm like, this really, like, well, come on, high school is over. Like, I didn't do it then. I'm sure not going to listen to your lame ass and succumb to peer pressure. But I was so fascinated by this creepy shit, because I just remember being at so many parties, and just like you can feel like something was shifting or changing, and I'm like, I'm out. And I just used the good old Gloria excuses. Oh my God, I've got diarrhea. Do you have no, I better leave. I have explosive diarrhea. I think I'm going to, I have shit my pants. And like, people just like, they immediately pull away from you. And then that's my out. So if you ever are on a date, or you're married, but if you ever need a really great out, the diarrhea one, where, oh my God, it works every time. My mom had Crohn's disease, so I got to witness it firsthand. God rest her soul. Like, she was always shitting her pants everywhere. She made a joke about it. But it was really hard on her self-esteem. But Mom, wherever you are, I borrow that. So if you are ever in an uncomfortable situation where you feel like things are going to be bad soon, just pull that card out. I'm going to give it all to you guys listening. Use the diarrhea card. It works.
I'll have to keep that in mind.
Yeah, but did you see some weird stuff when you were in LA, or were you just kind of like busy doing your thing? Because I really
I was out there to go to school there, and I was out there. I was 18. That was my first time that was the farthest I'd ever been from home. I have no family or any roots out there whatsoever.
Yeah,
so
that's who they're looking for. That's what the predatories are looking for.
Yeah. So I was as far away from home that I could possibly be in the continental U.S. Yeah, this was, I mean, I was out there 2013.
Oh wow.
So it wasn't quite as, I mean, it was still, I mean, Hollywood's always been a dump, but it used to have charm. And then I was out in, I was out in LA this past January. And that's the first time I'd been since, since I lived out there years ago. And I was pretty heartbroken just how far gone it's gotten, and getting pretty gross and horrible. But yeah, I didn't really see too much because, like, when I was out there, I was pretty much just going to class and just
Yeah.
practicing guitar. And even, I mean, even still now, but especially back then, like at that age, it's like my blinders were on. It was just, especially in like high school through college. I mean, I was just, I was just always the loser at home, just practicing my guitar on Friday and Saturday nights, Um, but
I'm still that loser.
but yeah, so that was, I didn't really see too much there, but yeah, I guess to get back to your original question, I'm sorry, I keep taking us off track.
No, I'm taking you off because it's fun. People expect that.
Yeah, so I guess, as far as, the next year, what that's looking like. So all that being said about, Instagram and all that, it's like, I know I have the following out there, so I'm just trying to get to them physically. I'm trying to get us out of the Northeast area as far as, playing live shows. And, we're looking to, right now we're in the process of booking some shows. Actually, speaking of LA, trying to get some shows out there, probably be coming down south a bit. And we're trying to, get out nationally as much as we can. So definitely, booking for 2025, spring, summer, some tour dates there. And then, like I said, we just released an album this past summer called Celluloid Babylon. So we've been pushing that. But we have a live album, which I haven't officially announced it yet, but I guess I'll do it here.
Ooh, do it.
We recorded a live album this past summer at one of our shows, outside of Boston.
Nice.
Because no one does live albums anymore. So we played one show at a venue called the Rockwood in Boston, and someone brought like an actual old school tape recorder. I still know who it is, and recorded the whole album on a bootleg and put it on YouTube. And I saw that, and it was like this really grimy kind of old tape recording, like really lo-fi thing. Like, it'd be pretty cool if we try to do like our own bootleg album. So we just set up a couple mics, and so I'm hoping to have that album out hopefully by Christmas. Just because, like I said, no one these days has a live album, and it's also, I'm trying to shed the whole Instagram guitarist thing. Cause I know a lot of people, Ben Cote, he's an Instagram guitar player, he's a TikTok guitarist, and it's like, I'm trying to get people to see that I don't just sit in my apartment and just.
I don't think anybody would think that. I never got that vibe from you.
Oh, there's plenty of comments I'm getting. So it's like, I'm just trying to see. Look, it's like I'm paying the dues. I'm out there. I'm out there playing live. And then we have our next studio album we're writing and planning on getting that recorded this winter, and hopefully we'll have our next 6th studio album out for next summer to coincide with hopefully some tour dates.
Who is your buddy? What's his name? Ricky something? What is it?
Ricky.
Wasn't he with Steel Panther for a while?
Oh yes. Yes, so he's an Instagram acquaintance. I haven't actually met him in person, but
I didn't know. I was gonna say what's his name? Ricky. It's not Ricky Rocket. What is it? Ricky?
No, Ricky Rocket's boy. Ricky.
I know.
I'm blanking on it myself right now. Let me. Ricky Thrash.
Yeah, like, I mean, is there anything that you could like reach out to him? Like, you guys are the same type of kind of vibe. Like, you guys do some shows together. Like.
Yeah, and actually that's part of what I've been doing as far as trying to book some shows. I've been reaching out to a lot of my Instagram friends.
Isn't he in your area though?
I'm not sure where he is, to be honest. I know we've
sure seems like it. I don't think he's LA based.
I should reach out and ask him because
you should. No, I mean, just like, plant seeds with people. If we were doing any original stuff we just don't play around here. You know what I mean? Like, we're just getting but when we get rolling more with the original stuff, if there's ever anything that makes sense, and then people don't understand, like, what makes sense is that there's a budget that people can come from your town, and like food and travel is paid for, you at least break even. And then like a lot of people can't just break even anymore on originals. Like, you have to be making, so that means that's a lot of money that's in the budget. You know what I mean? Like people
Right.
don't realize that. Like, oh, can we open for your band? It's like we're barely making any money. There's no money for you to, oh, we'll play for free. Okay, well, people still need to stay then an extra hour, or union workers have to be extended, and there has got to be
Right.
enough inputs in the mixing board and blah
Right.
blah blah. Like they just don't get it. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if there's anything that I can ever think of that I can help you with or that makes sense, like I'll definitely holler at you or send it your way. It's just you gotta start looking at some of those connections that you have and figuring out, how can you guys collaborate on something that's beneficial for both. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
because I've definitely been looking for a booking agent, because I think that's our next step, and I'm not really sure how to. Like right now, it's like myself and my band. We have a spreadsheet of different
Wow.
venues all over the country that we Google, and we reach out to them, and we kind of track all that. And it is getting to the point now where it's like I said at the beginning of this, it's like you got to do everything, but it gets to a point. It's like, well, you need to try to find some people to try to help you out with some things, because it
Oh, of course.
gets to be too much, and then at the end of the day, you don't want the main product, which is the music,
Music
start to suffer because you're trying to do too much of the business end. But I will say, I'll give a couple shout outs, because Pete Evick, who's become a good friend of mine, he's the guitar player for the Bret Michaels band. He mixed a couple of the tracks on this last album. He's been kind of taking me under his wing a little bit and kind of helping me with some things. And actually, the Ben Cote band is going to be opening for Bret Michaels November 15th at the Lynn Auditorium. So if anyone's in the Massachusetts area, you can come check us out there. But yeah, it's definitely the next step is just trying to get us out of Massachusetts.
That's really. I just took a picture. I'm gonna send it to Pete. Pete's a friend of mine. So.
Oh yeah, Pete is amazing. And then Gavin, his son. Actually, I played a couple shows with Gavin.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, Gavin came up to Mass. He had a leg on his tour up in Mass. We did a couple shows together. But yeah, Pete's great. Like I said, yeah, he mixed a couple songs on the latest album. So he's been really amazing.
Well, that's really, really cool. Maybe when your album's out, we could just get Pete on for 5 minutes with you to promo that. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Well, he mixed the album that came out this summer. So
really?
Yeah. So the first two tracks on Celluloid Babylon, Pete mixed for us.
That's a great nugget. That was worth the podcast just to hear about that.
Yeah. And then
how did you meet Pete?
Actually through Gavin. Yeah, because Gavin started following me on Instagram probably a couple years ago, and then Gavin and I started talking, and then I think I'm assuming Gavin was the one who told Pete about it, and then then Pete and I kind of hooked up on social media as well. Yeah,
I love it. Tell everybody where we can find you.
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is at the Ben Cote. You can find me there. TikTok at the Ben Cote as well, or you can just go to bencoteband.com, and we have all of our info on show dates. We can stream all of our 5 original albums on pretty much all streaming services: Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes. Or if you're old school and cool and want to buy a physical copy, we have physical copies of our albums on our website you can buy as well.
I love that. I was actually checking that out. Well, I can't thank you enough for taking time on a Saturday morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was really good to meet you. Come back again now that people, know who you are. And I've had a podcast on a really huge platform for like 7 years. And then I got bumped and then gave it a break for a little while and was kind of feeling, anybody that's made it this long in the podcast knows what's up. So yeah, I was feeling a little hurt. And then I had a huge company pick me up, and before it was on a paid platform. So lots of people, big audience, but now it's like on a huge push on every single platform. So, which is good for you, Ben, because so many people will hear this and it's in their best interest to promote it because they make lots of money off the advertising. So, so anyways, I'm glad that a lot more people than even last year when I was podcasting will hear about you and they can follow you, and you're a hot dude. So all the chicks will dig you, and all the gays out there will love you too, my friend. And you need everyone you need everyone to love you. So I shout out to all of those people listening. You know who you are. I won't call you out, but you know who you are. And you'll definitely enjoy this guy because he's easy on the eyes, but he's a kind soul and he's so talented. So Hi to everybody in your camp, and we thank you again for being on Goldy's Closet, episode 251. Oh, it's so weird, man. I can't say the network that I've been on for 7 years, and that's fine. The network is me. Sometimes you just got to go with yourself. But stay safe out there, everyone, and always stay golden. And then we clap at the end. Yay! Like the Muppet Show. What's up, everyone? It's Goldy, Impact Wrestling, TLC's Cheapskates. Ted Nugent's running wild from him somewhere in the woods. And maybe you've seen our band, Goldilocks Band. We're out there, we're on tour, but now we're connecting on Cameo. So I want to tell you that I'm here to be your humble servant, and that's whatever you need said for you, for a friend, a shout out, a golden shout out, you name it, here and on it. Now, just reminding you, keep it classy, keep it cool, and keep it above the belt. But I want to offer you something a little bit different. Just remember, if I'm not on the road and I've got access to these next beauties, we can always have da-da-da-dum. I want to make this the most amazing experience for you ever, because you deserve it, your friends deserve it, your loved ones deserve it. And just remember, I can sing you a few lines of a song. It can be from anywhere, like it can be from somewhere over the rainbow, or it could be near, far, wherever you are. It could even be on a highway to hell. It can even be from there. Oh, and keep in mind, not all requests are the same. Maybe your motivation comes with a harder edge. Maybe you need a more jagged little pill. There's nothing that I love more than playing the heel. So if you need your message delivered with more, what's the word I'm looking for? Intention? Please specify. Can't wait to connect with you on Cameo. Thanks so much for being here. Stay golden.